And joining us now here on the Jay Stevens podcast, it is Darren Smith, the co-host of the Darren and Sterling Show, and also the host of The Ship with Darren Smith. Darren, how you doing today?
Doing good, man. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very good. I'm glad you could be here with us today. Before we get into talking about the most recent game that the Chiefs had, I want to ask you this question. If you were to describe the play of the Kansas City Chiefs this season to someone that had known nothing about them at all, the football team or anything, how would you describe their play this year?
Well, if you me, it's kind of nerve wracking, but then again, you're talking to someone who bets on the games. No, the Chiefs' offense is everything that it lives up to the billing. Everything that you expect from Patrick Mahomes and the rest of the offense. Overall, the team is about where everyone expected them to be. I expect them to still be undefeated, but all things being equal, this is pretty much where everybody anticipated Kansas City on being.
Okay. I would think so as well. The one loss on the record, one blemish, that game, I believe, against the Raiders that they lost. Most recently, they beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I saw your tweet, saw you on Facebook. You had different thoughts than maybe the average person may have after that win. What were some thoughts you had after the win against Tampa Bay?
It's funny you said. I feel like I got to go on the air just a little bit and apologize. People think I was really upset. It wasn't that I was upset about the win, because I mean, obviously, you moved to 10-1. It's not too much to be upset about. But the thing is, and what I try to tell people is that in this business, you try to be consistent. My thing is always about being consistent, good, better, and different. And for me, if I'm gonna bring hellfire and brimstone down on the team that I cover in a loss, I should be able to do the same in a win. And the things that I wouldn't accept in a loss, I can't accept in a win as well. And so, seeing how the game had played out, again, I brought it to Patrick's attention in the post game when we had the opportunity to ask him questions in the Zoom. And the biggest thing for me is the style of play in which they did. They should have been up maybe at minimum 21 to 28-0 by the end of the first quarter, if not the first half. And and because they weren't. They let the foot off the gas. Is something that, to me, if you face a team that can put up points on the board, Tampa Bay put points up on the board later on in the game, but if you got a team that can go up and down the field with you in the playoffs or in the regular season, and you end up losing the game like you did against the Raiders, then post game you have excuses as to why you lost that game. That's a problem. And so even though it didn't cost them the L this past Sunday, I did not like the style of play. The trickery with Patrick and Travis Kelce on the opening drive, third and one. It's like, just pound the ball in the end zone. I understand you want to do the trick plays, but you can do that when you're up 28-0. Don't do it when you're in. Then of course you end up settling. I mean, you don't go for it on fourth and inches or 4th and 1. There you kick a field goal, but then you go for it on 4th and 3 or something. Later on in the game, it's like I just don't get it. And then the second time around, they're down on the red zone. And I think Patrick drops back 3 straight times and throws the ball out of bounds without ever trying to run the ball or do, So it was some of the play calling was stuff that it raised a lot of eyebrows. And again, the irony for me is if you are considered one of the best teams in the league, obviously, because you just won a Super Bowl. However, you play a team that you could possibly meet in the Super Bowl. To me, you have opportunity to use a sledgehammer to a gnat. That's what you do. I mean, you go out there, you make it a statement game that whether it's Tampa Bay, potentially New Orleans, in 3 weeks from today or 3 weeks from Sunday, it doesn't matter who lines up against you. This is what you can expect to face against the Kansas City Chiefs, and they didn't do that.
So. That is true. That is true. I remember. I think the trick play you're referring to. I think it was that double reverse pass. Was that the one of the red zone you're referring to?
Yeah, the one where Kelce tried to throw a touchdown pass to Mahomes.
That threw me off as well because it didn't make any sense. The position on the field, the timing of it. Like, I mean, you have it in your bag, you can utilize it, but that didn't make any sense to me at all. And I can see kind of where your frustration comes from with the play calling situationally, where they are on the field. It just didn't make any sense at all. It's nice to be able to utilize those plays, and people that watch the Chiefs, they see that there are times that they utilize trickeration, but that time, I'm with you, man. That didn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you had everything else going for you. And, look, I love our rookie running back, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but you also brought in Le'Veon Bell. He has shown Clyde that he can't, when it's 3rd and 1, 2nd and 1 or whatever, that he's not that guy. He's just not big enough to try to pound the ball to get you that first down. That's what you got Le'Veon Bell for. He's a 2-time, 3-time All-Pro running back. That's what you got him for. Utilize him in that manner. I mean, if you're not going to play him, long series or whatever, at least use him to get obvious first down situations instead of putting a rookie in there. So I mean, there were plays, like I said, throughout the game, and that's just offense. I mean, the defense is a whole nother issue. And then of course, 2 weeks in a row, they've had 10 penalties for 80+ yards. As I mentioned to Patrick last week about cleaning it up, he said players going to take personal responsibility. This past week, they had 10 penalties once again, 2 of them including Frank Clark hitting Tom Brady upside the head. I think two plays in a row. I just don't know what was going on with Kansas this weekend.
Gotcha. I got you. The play of Patrick Mahomes, we can talk about the game itself against the Buccaneers for the entire time, but the play of Mahomes this year alone, it seems like he has taken his play up a notch, and he's playing and he's seeing the field and reading defenses. Some say, I think I heard him say he just learned how to read a defense. It's amazing how you make it to the NFL, even in college, and not know how to read a defense. But he's taking his play up to another level. What else? What have you seen from him that makes this year so special as he's raising his play?
Well, you got to remember he played in the Big 12, so they wasn't known for defense. He didn't really. He didn't do the air and out. He played in an air attack with the Red Raiders. I mean, with Patrick, and to his credit, and to their credit, players like Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, they continue in the offseason. Like, they take a couple of weeks off after the season, obviously kind of just relax and, just kind of wind down some, but they get at it. I mean, they in the offseason, they'll work out, they'll train. Tyreek trains with the gentleman I went to college with, so man, I know him very well. So no, they're on it. I mean, and outside of the COVID stuff, but they would always work out together. They travel together. They would do things with their significant others and stuff together. So they're genuine friends off the field, just like they are on the field. So that's why the relationship and why it seems like everything they do is such with such fluidity, because they know each other. So they all know each other so well, and they work, like I said, they work out together. They do things together. So it translates on and off the field. The type of play that you see with this team. It
does. And not just with Mahomes. You mentioned Kelce and Tyreek Hill. And I was looking at the stats a little bit earlier today, and I was amazed. I didn't even know, but Tyreek Hill leads the league in receiving yards. I believe Travis Kelce's number 2 as a tight end in receiving yards as well. Over 1,000 for Hill, and I believe it's 978 for Travis Kelce on the season. Did you expect this kind of explosion and for them to be this potent as a duo on the field this year?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, well, yes. Once we saw what Patrick was able to do 2 years ago, this is what we expected every year. This is what we expect. I don't want to say we're spoiled, but yeah. And I think at the last, I think they dropped to 2 and 3 because of DK Metcalf's performance.
Okay. True.
But to your point, no, I mean, Patrick is leading the league. I think he's almost 3,500 yards. I mean, this is what we expect from both Patrick, Tyreek, as well as Travis. And Travis, to his credit, again, he's Patrick's safety valve. When everything looks like it's covered down there, Travis finds a way to get open. And so with that, no, they've I mean, again, I thought they were kind of spoiled here in Kansas City. So, and which is a good thing.
It is. I grew up an Indianapolis Colts fan, and I was growing up when it was Peyton Manning, Edgerrin James, Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, Brandon Stokely in the slot. And so I got spoiled as a youngster and even into my teen years being able to watch the Colts play football. And every single week you're going into a game, you're expected to win. Now, there are times the Patriots, and there are certain teams that would trip you up where you would have a few losses on your record. But for the most part, you're expected to win 11 to 12 games every single year. The Chiefs are in that realm right now. It's just odd that in 2020, the Steelers are undefeated when many people still think the Chiefs are the better football team. Going into matchups like that, how are the Chiefs able to keep their mind right and to not get too puffed up and to say, oh, we're talented. We can beat people. Let's just take a quarter off, or let's take a series off. How do they stay grounded and stay focused, knowing that they are the favorite in almost every matchup this year?
Well, a lot of it comes from coaching, but the players themselves, they don't take anything lightly. Even the loss against the Raiders back at Arrowhead back in October, it was, it happened that way. But you got to remember the loss against the Raiders, that came when 2 touchdowns were called back against Kansas City. I think both of them were to Tyreek, and it was called back for flags. I can't remember. One of them might have been a holding penalty. Can't remember what the other one was, but both of those again would have put. Well, the first one would have put Kansas City up 7-0, and I think I can't remember what the other one was during the time of the gameplay. So Kansas City, if they go up 7-0, the game is kind of called a little different because now you're in the lead versus coming from behind as they were in that game, and then just ran out of time, I guess, more or less. And Patrick threw his first, and he's only thrown 2 interceptions, and both of them have been against the Raiders. So even if he doesn't throw those interceptions, we're having obviously a totally different conversation about the record today. They know that being a world champion, that you're going to have a bullseye on your back, and the players themselves, they want to. They never talked about it publicly, but privately they acknowledged that I was the one triggered them to go 19-0. That they did have a thought of trying to go 19-0, but you got to remember they had already won 9 games in a row to start the season, and then the first 4 games, so they had won 13 in a row. So sometimes you get a little, not to say complacent, but you do kind of get burnt out, and then you can kind of see it against the Carolina Panthers. It was the game right before their bye week where it was like you're letting Carolina put these points up on you, Kansas City. They only had the ball for maybe 21 minutes, and they were able to outscore Carolina 33-31 to win the game. But the manner in how they looked, it wasn't impressive. And you thought to yourself, okay, this bye week couldn't come fast enough because it seems like now they're trying to get, starting to get burnt out and stuff like that. So then, of course, after the bye week, you still give 31 points to the Raiders. So I'm still shocked about how they played in that manner. But now that they know this is a home stretch, they want to try to continue to win because you don't know if Pittsburgh goes 16-0. If they do, hats off to them. But if by chance they slip up, Kansas City wants to be there to be able to jump ahead of them.
Who would you say we could talk about the offense the entire time, but who on the defense is or would be considered key pieces? Now we know the names, but who are a few pieces on the defense that keep this team as good as they are on the defensive side? Because as good as you are on offense, if your defense isn't good doing anything, you want to have more than one loss. You're going to be getting embarrassed, and teams that you should be beating, you're losing to because the defense isn't holding up their end of the bargain. Who on the defense has really been kind of the bright spot this year for the Chiefs so far this season?
Now, that's a real good question. Unfortunately, I can't say Chris Jones or Frank Clark, so I wouldn't go with either one of those two. It would probably be either I'd say either a linebacker, and I'm just trying to. I don't want to say Hitchens, and then I would probably say Javarius Ward or L'Jarius Sneed in the backfield. I can't even say Tyron Matthews because he's been taken to the woodshed a few times. The defense at times have made plays throughout this 11-game season thus far. But if I had to just pick one, I'd probably say L'Jarius. Well, I don't know because all of our defensive backs have been hurt in some form or fashion. So I'd probably say Hitchens, Anthony Hitchens.
Gotcha, Darren. I'm a person. This is the first time you and I have talked. I enjoyed this so far, but I am a critical evaluator, and it seems like you're a critical evaluator. On your show, when you get callers calling in, do they ever get a little pushed back and be like, Darren, man, soften up a little bit. Don't be so hard on the team. But I'm sure you could, when you're an elite team, you got to be critical. You have to be honest with your opinion, with your analysis to let people know, yes, they're good, but they could be even better than they're already playing so far.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Generally, my callers agree with me because it's like I express over the air sometimes to the coaches and the players exactly the frustration that they feel. Sometimes they can't put it into words, or like if I put a post up as you recalled over the weekend Sunday. I mean, again, 27-24, game never should have been that close. And for me, I would have to call Chiefs fans out because they'll accept it. Well, we won the game. Okay, you won the game, but that same style of play can lose you the game too. And yeah, if they played like the put like I'll make it real simple. This team cannot give up 20, cannot fall behind 24-0 against any team in the playoffs and come back to win like they did last year. It's just not going to happen because the defense is not playing the same way as they did last season. And
Okay.
that if you can't visualize that part, then and come to what you got a point, then there's really no conversation because it's obvious.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. You're exactly right there, Darren. This has been fun. The rest of the season, I know you touched on it just a little bit, but the rest of the season and going into the playoffs, because we all know the Chiefs are going to make the playoffs this year. What should we be looking for them to do to get improved? Is it going to be the old offensive line or defensive line? You've already mentioned Frank Clark and some players on defense, Tyrann Mathieu, that have not played to the caliber that we expect from them throughout the season, throughout the rest of the season and into the playoffs. What should we see? What should we be looking to see from the Chiefs down the backstretch the last few games of this year?
No, that's fair. Three things, and this goes into the playoffs. If one, they have to improve on the O-line, got to be able to protect Patrick. You saw in the second half how Tampa Bay was able to hit Patrick and get him down, and I think even right before the half caused a fumble. Two, our defensive line. The fact that you didn't hear Chris Jones, the only time you heard Chris Jones' name Sunday was him getting in Tom Brady's face. He didn't even register on the stat line. So that's the issue between Chris Jones and Frank Clark. These are players that you're paying $18-20 million a piece on, and they're just non-existent right now. So if you're not getting solid line play on both offensive and defensive line, and then third, and really most importantly, I would say, I don't even want to go there. I'm gonna just go with those two. I mean, they're the third one there, but I'm kind of leery about just putting it out there just yet.
Okay. Before we wrap this up, I got one quick question for you. Sure. Do you think the Chiefs will repeat as Super Bowl champions?
Well, yeah, I mean, I picked them before the beginning of the season.
You did say that.
I had them going up against Tampa Bay, and just for the third point I was going to make, because I just don't want to leave it out there, is the Chiefs have to improve in the red zone, what they do in the red zone, because the touchdowns that they scored were all outside the red zone. It's when they get down to the inside the 20 that they have problems, as you saw, scoring the ball. And it shouldn't be that hard with this type of offense. So those are the three things: the first two offensive and defensive line, and the Chiefs improving with their red zone scoring and getting touchdowns and not field goals out of it. But no, I do have the Chiefs repeating. All things being equal, Kansas City's down in Tampa. I'll be down there covering the Super Bowl, and hopefully, they have a better showing this time around than they did before in Tampa.
Hope so.
I did ask Patrick. I said, Patrick, looked like looked like you were, you were fine getting acquainted to that field down there. You think you could do the same in February? Kirby says, but that's his hope. So we'll see what happens.
I got you, Darren. This has been fun. If you could take some time, let people know where they can listen to the shows that you host, and then also where they can connect with you on social media as well.
Sure. People can hit me up on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, I believe, at Darren Smith WHB. You can tune into the show 3 to 4 p.m. daily, Central, which means I'm gonna be on the air in just a little bit. Now I won't be on tomorrow because I think we're going to be carrying the football game, the NFL game, so I'll be off tomorrow. And then they can also, so Monday through Friday, 3 to 4 p.m. Central. They can go to 1510.com online, or on social media. They can hear the show, or if you're in the Kansas City area, 1510 AM or 94.5 FM. And then on Thursday nights following the Thursday night games or whatever, I'm on Sports Radio 810 WHB, which you can hear either download the mobile app, of course, Facebook Live, YouTube, Periscope, when I stream live, as well as 810WHB.com.
Darren Smith, thank you so much. The Chiefs are having a phenomenal season, and this has been a fun time with you as well. Darren Smith, thank you so much for coming on here on the Jay
Anytime.
Stevens podcast.
Anytime. Just reach out to me.